Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Listen, if you're a focused learner who just wants to understand the actual mechanics behind these massive global headlines, without getting completely lost in the weeds, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're decoding a highly symbolic, incredibly significant global event. Vladimir Putin recently arrived in the Chinese capital for this massive, meticulously orchestrated visit. And right off the bat, I can tell you it's a moment that sets the stage for a relationship that is fundamentally altering the global balance of power.
But hey, before we dive into all those heavy details, let me ask you something. Are you still doom-scrolling through world news and just feeling completely drained? Let's be honest. Decades of unresolved conflicts, shifting alliances, and complex power struggles, it can make the world stage feel like one long, exhausting relationship. It is incredibly easy to feel anxious when global dynamics shift this rapidly. So just consider this explainer your much-needed geopolitical therapy.
Let's process the chaos together. We're going to completely strip away the heavy jargon, we'll skip the political noise, and we're just going to have an honest conversation about the clear, straightforward motives driving these nations. We're zooming all the way out, from the intimate details of a simple cup of tea, right up to the massive global consequences that actually affect all of us. Because the goal here is to truly understand why these countries are acting the way they are right now.
Section 1. Tea diplomacy and old friends.
Okay, so Putin wasn't just casually waving as he stepped off a plane. He was welcomed with full-on state honors right outside Beijing's Great Hall of the People. We're talking military bands playing the Russian and Chinese national anthems, a sprawling red carpet, and literal banks of cameras from all around the world capturing every single handshake. And that matters, right? The setting and the pageantry matter just as much as the handshakes themselves. Amidst all that pageantry, you have to notice this concept of tea diplomacy. This has long been a signature of Xi Jinping's personal style. It's this very specific, deliberate gesture of respect that he strictly reserves for leaders he holds in the absolute highest regard. For instance, during this May 2024 visit, the two leaders completely ditched their neckties and just sat outdoors in Zongenhai. That's the former Imperial Gardens which now houses China's top leadership. It's a highly restricted space. Foreign leaders are exceptionally rarely invited to enter.
And this trip was highly symbolic in itself, because it marked Vladimir Putin's very first foreign visit of the year. But it builds on a really remarkable history. Think about this number, 40. They have had more than 40 face-to-face meetings since 2013. That level of consistent, direct, in-person contact, that is absolutely extraordinary in modern international diplomacy.
Best and most intimate friend. Those aren't my words. Those are Xi Jinping's own words regarding Putin. Their public diplomacy frequently goes way beyond the stiff, formal summits we're so used to seeing on the news. I mean, they share birthday celebrations. They take private walks through Chinese leadership compounds. They are deliberately projecting this atmosphere of mutual understanding, trust, and a highly personal connection to the rest of the world.
Section 2. The economic lifeline. But of course, it's not just about friendship, right? We have to pivot from the personal relationship to the massive economic reality that's underpinning this entire partnership. Because while they're drinking tea in the Imperial Gardens, Russia is currently navigating intense Western sanctions as a result of its invasion of Ukraine. So what we have here is a truly unprecedented win-win dynamic for both nations. On one side, China secures its core interests, a massive, secure flow of energy and Russian oil. And on the flip side, as Russia faces those Western sanctions, China has totally emerged as Moscow's most important economic lifeline. Russia gets this steady flow of Chinese electronics, machinery, and everyday consumer goods that its industry has come to heavily depend on. And the data backs this up fast. 16%. Two-way trade between these countries expanded rapidly, rising over 16% in just the first 4 months of the year, compared to that same period previously. And because of this massive surge in value terms, China has now securely cemented its position as the absolute biggest buyer of Russian oil. Section 3. Fueling the future. You see, for both Beijing and Moscow right now, energy security is a central, absolutely non-negotiable priority. And the reason for this goes way beyond their own borders. It has everything to do with a highly sensitive global backdrop that is quite honestly making everyone a little nervous. Global energy markets are on edge. Objectively speaking, this meeting comes at an extraordinarily sensitive moment. The war in Ukraine continues with no clear end in sight. Furthermore, the US-Iran crisis has severely restricted access through the Strait of Hormuz, which, if you didn't know, is a massive global energy trade transit route. And look, when global transit routes get choked off, nations start looking for guaranteed overland alternatives.
So here is the proposed solution currently on the table. It's a massive, long-delayed infrastructure project called the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline. Once completed, this pipeline would securely send massive quantities of Russian natural gas, starting from Russia, going straight through Mongolia, and feeding directly into China. For Moscow, this creates a critical, guaranteed new market. And for Beijing, it secures an incredibly stable supply of energy that doesn't have to travel through contested ocean straits at all.
Section 4. Expanding the partnership.
Now, the Kremlin has been very vocal about their high expectations here. They describe this relationship as one that's growing in absolutely all possible areas, because this statecraft is expanding far beyond just fuel. To really understand the sheer scale of their agreements, you just have to look at the output. They're expected to sign some 40 documents and issue a massive 47-page joint statement detailing their strengthening partnership. We're talking the whole shebang. Expanding cooperation in technology, in medicine, and in healthcare. They're pushing cultural exchanges. They are even officially launching the Russian-Chinese Year of Cooperation in education. Every single new meeting provides an additional push to expand their relations deep into everyday civil society.
Section 5. The global ripple effect. So as global fault lines grow sharper every single day, this meticulously orchestrated meeting isn't just about two leaders shaking hands and drinking tea in Beijing. It signifies something much, much larger for the entire world order. What we are witnessing is two nuclear powers actively signaling a major shift. In a world currently marked by war, intense economic sanctions, and deep geopolitical rivalry, they are showing us that their partnership is only becoming more central to the global balance of power. They are publicly committing to supporting each other on matters affecting their core interests, their sovereignty, and their state unity.
Which leaves us with this final, absolutely crucial question to ponder. How will this deepening partnership reshape the alliances in your own hemisphere over the next decade? Because when the center of gravity shifts, the whole world feels the pull. Thank you so much for joining me for this session of Geopolitical Therapy on The Explainer. I really hope this structure helped clarify exactly what is happening between Russia and China right now. Keep questioning those headlines and above all, stay curious. I'll catch you on the next one.